Hey everybody, it's George. Welcome back. I hope you're doing great wherever you are in the world. Let me ask a question. Have you ever been on a flight where the turbulence was so ridiculous and the ride was so bumpy that there was some point in the flight where you were not sure that you were actually going to make it to your destination in one piece? I have been on several flights that were doozies where from the moment you took off, say 4 or 5 minutes after you take off till just before landing, you're bumpy and you're shaking in your seat, and the seatbelt light is on the whole time. And one flight that was actually from Phoenix to Detroit about 20 years ago, there you didn't even have the opportunity to try to get to the bathroom, where the flight attendants were still trying to make sure that you were in your seat the whole time. And that's a 3 hour and 40 minute flight from Phoenix to Detroit. And the whole time it was just bumpy all along the way. And even though the pilots were trying to gain different altitudes to find a smoother ride, it just didn't happen. Has that happened to you? Leave some comments below so that people can start talking about their crazy experiences flying. I wanted to talk about this because recently you can see here from this screenshot that there was a flight into Phoenix where there was just a lot of panic and a lot of turbulence that caused some injuries. And it's not unheard of. There are more flights just because of more people flying. There are more chances that you might have a bumpy ride depending on where you're going to. And it's a reminder to all of us that I've, done so much flying over my life that I'm used to waiting until they get to 10,000 feet, or you hear the ding and this seatbelt sign goes off, and a flight attendant usually says something about that. You can move about the cabin, use the bathrooms, etc. And almost, instinctually you think about, I'm going to take the seatbelt and I'm just going to, because I need more room, I'm just going to take it off. I don't know who I'm sitting with or next to. So I just want some more room. And it's a reminder that always keep the seatbelt on. And it can be a pain, and I get it if let's say you're in the middle seat and you got a couple of big people on each side of you and you're feeling scrunched up and you don't want to, and you just want to get some extra room. But often these types of situations that happen where people get injured are unannounced. So it's not like the captain comes on and says, hey, in 10 minutes we're going to get some turbulence, so please make sure if you're going to the bathroom, do it now. Get back to your seat, make sure you have your seatbelt on. Often it's stuff that catches the flight crew off guard, and then that sends people reeling, not just passengers, but flight attendants and crew members. So have you had that type of experience? I have been on flights where I've seen flight attendants get bounced around. I was on a flight of all things even though the flight from Phoenix to Detroit 20 years ago, more than 20 years ago, was bumpy. It was not because they didn't have the service carts out and the flight attendants were in their seats pretty much the whole time. There was no one that was really getting injured. But I was on a flight of all things. It was a quick flight from Chicago O'Hare to Detroit. So we're talking a flight that's, a half-hour flight. It's a quick flight to get to puddle jumping flight. But I had an aisle seat, and the turbulence was such that when the plane dropped, I could look because my head kind of lurched back and then forward, that the beverage cart was like a couple inches off the ground and then back on the ground. And the flight attendant, because there was one flight attendant for this flight, I don't know if she hit the ceiling, but I can imagine that she did, because she ended up a few rows in front of me in the aisle, and I'm imagining, because I didn't get to see what happened to her, that she probably hit the top of the plane or by the luggage, by the overhead bins, and then hit the floor. Thankfully, she was okay, and there was no one else on the flight that was injured. But it is a reminder to make sure that you're keeping your seatbelt on even if it's a long haul international flight, yes, you're hoping that there'll be enough time or that the captain and crew would notify if we're going to get into some bumpy weather, but that's not always the case. And when you watch these viral videos about craziness in the cabin, oftentimes it's unannounced stuff. Just something comes out of nowhere, and the pilots they do not have time to react to it, to leave a message. They just have to get to a smoother, safer area if they can. And it's just become, as more people are traveling and some people are attributing it to climate change, these bumpy rides are going to probably happen more often. But please, if you have a story, just talk about it. I'd love to get some information on where you were going and what happened. Hopefully you were safe and you didn't get injured. But it is just a reminder to everyone as we're doing travel to make sure that if you're in your seat, you're not in the bathroom, wear the seatbelt. Better safe than sorry. As always, thanks for watching and enjoy your travels.